Hi, this is Daniel DiTuro. In this video, I'll show how you can use leftover egg whites or egg yolks and how you can substitute other ingredients for an ingredient you don't have on hand. For example, you can substitute unsweetened baking chocolate for cocoa powder and vegetable oil, or the opposite, vegetable oil and cocoa powder for unsweetened baking chocolate. 1 ounce of unsweetened baking chocolate is equivalent to 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder plus 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. 1 ounce of semi-sweet baking chocolate is equivalent to 1 ounce of unsweetened chocolate plus 4 tablespoons of sugar. For 1 teaspoon of baking powder, substitute 1/3 teaspoon of baking soda plus 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar. You can also dissolve 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in 1/3 cup of sour milk. When using baking soda and sour milk, reduce other liquid ingredients by 1/3 cup. An equivalent amount of breadcrumbs can be substituted for cracker crumbs. When substituting fresh breadcrumbs for cracker crumbs, increase the amount of breadcrumbs by 25%. 1 cup of white sugar plus 2 tablespoons of molasses is equivalent to 1 cup of packed brown sugar. For cooking and baking, you can substitute an equivalent amount of shortening for butter or margarine, or you can substitute vegetable oil using 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of oil per cup of butter or margarine. An equivalent volume of plain yogurt can be substituted for buttermilk. Another substitute for buttermilk is buttermilk powder. 4 tablespoons of buttermilk powder plus 1 cup of water equals 1 cup of buttermilk. You can also substitute sour milk for buttermilk by adding 4 teaspoons of white vinegar or lemon juice to 1 cup of milk and let it sit for 5 minutes before use. To substitute all-purpose flour for 1 cup of cake flour, use 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour plus 2 tablespoons. If you have a kitchen scale, substitute 100 grams of all-purpose flour for 100 grams of cake flour. 1 cup of corn syrup is equivalent to 2/3 cup of sugar dissolved in 1/3 cup of water. To thicken liquids and puddings, you can substitute 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour for 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. If you have celiac disease or don't want to use wheat flour to thicken, you can substitute 1.5 teaspoons of corn flour, arrowroot, rice flour, or potato flour for each tablespoon of wheat flour. You can also substitute 2 teaspoons of tapioca for each tablespoon of wheat flour. For heavy cream, substitute 1/3 cup of melted butter plus 3/4 cup of milk. For eggs used in baked recipes, you can substitute 1 teaspoon of cornstarch dissolved in 1/4 cup of water. You can also substitute 2 egg yolks combined with 1 tablespoon of water. 2 teaspoons of meringue powder dissolved in 2 tablespoons of water, or as specified by the manufacturer, is equivalent to 1 large egg white. When it comes to herbs, about 1/3 to 1/2 teaspoon of dried herbs is equivalent to 1 tablespoon of fresh herbs. About 1/8 teaspoon of dried garlic is equivalent to 1 clove of fresh garlic. But since garlic cloves vary in size, adjust the amount of dried garlic to taste. 1/2 cup of evaporated milk plus 1/2 cup of water is equivalent to 1 cup of whole milk. 2 tablespoons of dried chopped onion equals 1/2 cup of fresh onion. 1 cup of granulated sugar equals about 1 3/4 cups of powdered sugar. This is another example where owning a kitchen scale makes the substitution easier, since you're substituting equal weights versus unequal volume. To substitute 1 cup of sour cream used in baking, use 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of buttermilk, or sour milk plus 3 tablespoons of butter. For sour cream used in salad dressings, dips, and casseroles, substitute an equivalent amount of plain yogurt. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about this video. Thank you for watching, and healthy eating!